Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. My name is Khalil Gibran Mohammed, Director of the Schomburg Center. It's a delight to have you here. This is a really special treat, a film that many of you have seen, but for those who haven't, you are in for something special. Tonight, we welcome members of James Baldwin's family. We are incredibly excited to have with us Aisha Karefa-Smart as Baldwin's niece, as well as Trevor Baldwin, his nephew, in conversation with Karen Thorsen, the director of James Baldwin's The Price of the Ticket.
Good evening, everybody. I am Shala Lynch, the curator of the Moving Image and Recorded Sound Division. We are grateful that The Price of the Ticket film collection and Karen's interviews, research, and outtakes were acquired by the Schomburg Center in 1998. Enjoy the film, and don't forget the Q&A will follow. Thank you so much.
All right.
Somebody wrote into our company and said, you make cinema verite films where you follow someone around who's really interesting and important, and why don't you make a film on James Baldwin? And I said, yes, please. I'd want to work on that. I know who that is. I really care about this project. When you hear him talk about his niece and his nephew repeatedly in the film, and you're not the only members of the family, but
Lots of cousins, definitely.
It's an honor to be here. This is sacred ground, as you saw in the film, when this was the 135th Street Branch Library, the County Cullen Branch Library. This is where my uncle came and read every book in the library.
Of course, Uncle Jimmy had mastered that language of the human condition, and that's why we hear his voice echo through here, and here we are in Harlem celebrating him. But, you know, I come with a heavy heart because, you know, you also hear Aunt Maya Angelou's voice, Amiri's voice, and they're all gone.
He supposes that one of the reasons why people cling so stubbornly to their hatreds is because they fear that once they let go of their hatreds, they'll be forced to confront their own pain.
one of the things about Jimmy is that he had, after he was born, 8 siblings, and the story goes that he actually, not only did he visit the 135th Street Library, but he had in one hand, on one hip, a baby, one of his siblings, and a book in the other, and he basically went through, because his father died when he was only 24, 19, I got it wrong, I think. 19.
But he was able to articulate and synthesize a lot of what we're all feeling and why we're here, and encourage us to do better. So, I mean, we're all in some way disciples of that lesson that he was able, you know, and you realize there's not too many of them anymore.
And on the morning of December 1st, a friend of mine called me and said, Karen, I just heard on NPR that James Baldwin died in France last night. And of course I was shocked. And I just didn't know that he was that ill, that he could be that ill. It just was inconceivable to me.
People know that he was self-taught. You know, people, just because he spoke the Queen's English so well doesn't mean that, you know, he went to college. Right. This is a man who made decisions to expand the borders.
You know, I know people who, you know, read to young people. They read James Baldwin to young students. They pass on the stories. It's an oral type of passing of the torch. You do what you can do where you are.
I've got to tell you, one last quote. This is not in the film because it's not set on video, but James Baldwin said, if you can alter, even by a millimeter, the way people see reality, then you can change it. So all of us, the person next to us on the bus or wherever, we can alter the way they see the reality by what we say or do. And that eventually will change reality.
Thank you so much, Karen. Can we give another warm round of applause to Aisha, Trevor, and Karen? Thank you so much for coming out for the conversation this evening.